All right. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us here today. My name is Hannah Jennings, and I am a community organizer here at Tech in Motion. I'm excited to welcome you to today's webinar. Please feel free to continue introducing yourself in the chat, where you're tuning in from, what's your current tech role, any questions or topics you would like to cover today. We want to hear it all in the chat. For those of you who have been part of our community for a while now, you may know that Tech in Motion was founded over a decade ago by Motion Recruitment, an IT staffing and recruiting firm. Our goal has remained simple, and that's really just to bring together the tech community to connect, learn, innovate, and discuss the most pressing IT topics of today. Today, we are joined by an incredible panel who will explore the future of cloud computing, including trends and innovations to watch in 2025. From emerging technologies to shifts in infrastructure strategy, our experts will break down what's ahead and how you can stay ahead of the curve yourself. Be sure to stick around until the very end for live Q&A. You can toss those questions into the Q&A tab on the right-hand side, and we'll try to cover as many as possible. Today's session is also being recorded, so if you have to hop off early, no worries. We'll make sure you get a recording of the webinar to your inbox. Before we dive into the panel today, I'm excited to welcome Kayla Plasha from our founders at Motion Recruitment. Kayla's going to share some insights into the cloud hiring and job landscape.
Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday. I just want to take a quick second and introduce myself and Motion Recruitment. So as the founders of Tech in Motion, Motion Recruitment, we are one of the largest IT staffing firms in North America. So we have offices in cities all across the US and Canada, with teams in each of those cities focusing exclusively on a specific area of technology. So from cybersecurity to mobile development, and most relevant to this event, infrastructure, DevOps, and cloud technology. I've personally been a part of the Philadelphia infrastructure and cloud team for over a decade, and helping people find roles and grow their career really is the most rewarding part of my job. So if you have any questions about hiring for your team or how to set yourself up to be successful in today's job market, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'll be checking in and responding through the webinar. But when it comes to the cloud space, the jump in demand for these roles has really skyrocketed since I started in Motion over a decade ago. And specifically the last few years, we've seen such a big demand. So even with economic uncertainties, 80% of enterprises are planning to increase their cloud investments this year, which is really interesting to see. So what are the skills that companies are looking for in 2025 and beyond? So I'm going to hand it off to our panel of experts to see what they think about the future of cloud computing.
All right. Thank you so much, Kayla, for those insights. Now we're excited to welcome our panel to the stage. So I will welcome our moderator, Mandi Walls. She's back with us again for another webinar. She is a developer advocate at PagerDuty. Mandi supports organizations on their IT modernization journeys and previously held roles at Chef Software and AOL. She's an international speaker on DevOps topics and the author of the white paper, Building a DevOps Culture, published by O'Reilly. So welcome, Mandi. I will let you take it away from here.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hannah. It's great to be back with Tech in Motion. These panels are always great. They collect up some amazing folks to share insights with you as the audience. So this one I'm looking forward to. If you've been in cloud for a while, you know it's always changing. You know there's things on the landscape that you weren't expecting to be there a couple of years ago. There's always things to look at and reconsider and think about, and it can feel overwhelming. So having a bit of expertise, some advice from folks like our panelists today, hopefully will help you on your cloud journey, wherever you are in the space of that journey. I know folks are cloud veterans out there who've been in the cloud for a long time, and some of you may be just getting started. So wherever you are, we hope to have insights for you. So if we can bring our panelists on, we'll get started with intros for them. There we are. All right. Ramesh, you show up at the top of my screen, so let's start with you.
Hello. Happy Thursday, everyone. And thank you, Tech in Motion, for giving this opportunity to speak here on emerging technologies on cloud. I'm Ramesh Patil, a platform architect turned to be an engineer leader. Over 15 years of experience on platform engineering, DevOps, and cloud optimization with the cloud modernization. Currently, I'm with Wasabi Technology as a director of software engineering, where I lead a global team which is morely focused on AI driven automation, platform engineering, and observability. Over 15 years, I worked in mostly over startup and big corporations like Verizon, where my role was morely focused on building a standard operating environment for cloud excellence. This is me. I'm going to chat with you today. Thank you again.
Excellent. Shilpa?
Thanks, Mandi. Just want to confirm you can hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Shilpa. I'm a principal product manager at Aptio. I've been working as a product manager in tech for more than 10 years and in cloud for more than 7. I'm really excited to be here at this Tech in Motion event. So thank you, Tech in Motion. And I look forward to, discussions in this panel today.
Excellent. Sachin? I think you're muted.
I'm so sorry.
There you go. Excellent.
Okay. Right. I'm Sachin Kumar Sharma. I am part of CVS Health. I'm working on the data and AI, and I'm spearheading the modernization of PBM finance analytics applications. I have approximately 18 plus years of experience in the data industry. I worked upon like everything related to data, whether it's data engineering, data architecture, modeling, cloud modernization, and other stuff. Looking forward for this discussion.
Excellent. We have some great questions to get through. So let's kick it off. Sachin, start us out. We'll start with the big question first. What cloud computing trends are top of mind for you this year?
So nowadays, it's all about AI, right? Whatever we are doing, whatever work or any of the modernization that are happening is related to AI. So the main thing is how we can make all of these AI products, tools, and technologies available for everyone within the firm to leverage the power of AI. So that's like one of the most important things that we are doing within the firm nowadays, using the power of cloud, leveraging the advancement that are being done on the AI to make it accessible by all of the work that we are doing within the firm. So there are multiple applications that are already leveraging all of those AI tools and technologies that are available on the cloud. The other thing I'll say, how to make that data available for the AI on the real time to all of these applications. We want to drive the real-time analytics that gives the power to all of the business users to leverage what the insights are there within the data. And the last one, I would say, we are integrating all of the AI ML platform using the cloud for the whole firm. It's not that everyone needs to spin up their own services separately and build in silos. We are building the platform for like all of the applications within the firm, which will drive efficiency, which will drive scalability, and the speed to market to build the solutions. So these are the major things that, from the cloud trend perspective, we are using within the organization currently.
Yeah, excellent. It can feel like a scramble when everyone has sort of the same things in mind and we have to figure out how to get everybody on the same track. Shilpa, is there anything else that are top of mind for you this year?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I don't want to say the same thing again, but it is absolutely true that AI, ML, the explosion in AI workloads is creating a massive opportunity for companies not just to be on premise anymore, but to migrate more and more towards the cloud. Kind of as an offshoot for that, there's two things that I see as upcoming trends. One is the explosion of the amount of data that is needed for companies to adopt AI and ML more and more to build their own applications in AI and so forth. I mean, the cloud definitely makes it so much easier to manage your data in multiple ways, manage your data more securely, manage your data across multiple regions globally, and so on and so forth. And so I think for that specific reason alone, there are more companies of all sizes adopting the cloud and also adopting a multi-cloud strategy. I'm also seeing as a trend companies moving beyond basic cost visibility that the cloud providers like AWS or GCP provide to more FinOps maturity. And what that means is they are wanting to focus, away from kind of just show me what my costs are in my billing files to really understanding how they can optimize their spending in the cloud, just because they see the next 5 to 10 years as being kind of this increase in adoption of cloud, increase in data workloads, and so on and so forth. So in addition to AI ML that the previous speaker already mentioned, I would say data as well as FinOps, which is understanding your cloud costs on a significantly deeper level, are other trends that I've noticed.
Yeah, excellent. Eventually, we'll be asking the AI how to optimize our costs anyway, right? Ramesh, anything else that hasn't been mentioned or that you'd like to add for this one?
Sure. I mean, I'd certainly echo that AI is a big buzzword. I'm coming from this platform engineering and operation hat. I'd like to highlight that AI ops is a new norm. Everybody would like to adopt AI ops and drive operations with either a data-driven with the AI agentic way of point of it, right? There is a huge investment on the AI itself, on the operation standpoint, how we can effectively operate, make sure your product is available, close to 8 nines, and the availability of the product. In addition to it, I'd like to add there is huge shift in edge computing. It's always been there, but edge computing it's going to be crucial as we more and more use cases and IoT as well as AI, how quickly you can process and provide a decision from the edge of the computing node. There is a big shift there, a lot of investment, especially on the telco industry. In addition to it, we spoke about multi-cloud for sure. Everybody want to be multi-cloud, but I also see cost becoming one constraint. There is a hybrid cloud still. It's in the boom. People are investing large in hybrid cloud. And from the operational standpoint, the larger corporations are more focusing on standardizing cloud operations, cloud build out, how we can standardize so that the same pattern is not repeated. Especially, I'd like to echo the Sachin statement there about time to market. The standardization certainly help with the time to market and the efficiency. There is this stitching of all these factors with the AI makes it much robustic and take the product quickly into the market.
Yeah, excellent. Let's deep dive into the hybrid and multi-cloud strategy stuff. I had saw a post somewhere on social media earlier this week where the mix of folks using hybrid multi-cloud strategy, the pie is getting bigger, but the things they were using the ratios weren't changing. So folks are still using a lot of sort of owned data center or managed service providers, as well as public cloud, and that ratio isn't really changing. It's been pretty stable for the past few years, but the pie itself, the spend is getting larger. So Shilpa, what are your thoughts on like hybrid multi-cloud strategy, and like what's sort of driving how folks are handling that?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Mandi. So I think that in my own work, I've seen most of our customers. I manage a product called Cloudability, and it really is a product that is helping enterprise customers manage their cloud costs. So it's in the area of FinOps. Most of our enterprise customers are hybrid or multi-cloud customers. I would say more than 75% of them. I also read an article published by Gartner not that long ago that also said that more than 3/4 of organizations that already are on the cloud prefer to be either a hybrid or have a multi-cloud strategy to avoid vendor lock-in issues, and also just adopt best of breed or approach towards workloads. For example, Google Cloud is excellent at AI, ML, and any kind of data analysis, whereas AWS has its own other strengths, in Azure for database and many other things. I'm really generalizing here. But yeah, for that specific reason, customers also really want to adopt a best of breed approach towards their workloads on the cloud. I would say one of your questions was what could be driving this? AI potentially could be one of the primary drivers behind most of the trends occurring, especially in 2025. But also, I think customers are realizing more and more that they want to avoid any kind of vendor lock in. So, customers are choosing multi cloud deployments to prevent over reliance on one specific vendor like Azure or AWS, and to take advantage of each provider's specialized offerings. Um, yeah, I mean, it just offers a lot more flexibility and optimization, even from a cost perspective. I think even from a cloud security or general data security perspective, having a multi-cloud approach is probably a pretty good idea. So definitely what I've seen occurring more and more with enterprise customers.
Yeah, it's interesting. And like it creates different opportunities too, and requires a lot more varied expertise inside of their teams to be able to handle, because the clouds aren't necessarily one-to-one plug and play. You still need to have
You're right.
knowledge of how they work internally. So you have to have skills in all of those categories across all those vendors. So it's super interesting that they're still choosing
really
to
is.
go that way. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
totally. Yeah, I've seen more and more of that happening as well. Yeah, and you're right. Even when you look at how the cloud vendors kind of bill you, they're not one to one at all. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely. You think, oh, well, on this side it does this, but over here it's called something else. It doesn't work quite the same. So yeah,
100%.
that's super interesting. And the
Yeah,
cloud
man,
cost. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to chime in like from a hybrid multi-cloud perspective as well. I mean, I know all the organizations when cloud sort of like was catching up that we want to get onto the cloud because of the scalability, cost optimization, and security, right? But I think all of the organization who are working at that scale, it's not sort of like a easier shift to move, right? It's sort of like first of all, we need to understand that what we are moving to the cloud. Is it just lift and shift, or are we literally modernizing? If you're lifting and shifting, then I think you might not be leveraging the proper power what cloud can offer you. But when you are rebuilding it, when you are sort of literally redoing the things in a way that can leverage that power of cloud, then it's a lot of work as well for the organizations too. So that's why I think a lot of organizations are in a hybrid mode currently, where they might have started to move onto the cloud, but still are in somewhere middle of that particular journey to completely move to the cloud. And when it comes to multi-cloud, yeah, no one want to get lock-in with any of the specific cloud. That's why we need to have that multi-cloud strategy. Like let's say there is some problem with a specific cloud, something going down, or any specific issues, whether from a cost perspective or like any other specific issues. And if you want to move, then it will be again sort of a migration. This way we are like always in a migration mode, right? But the business, they look for the ROI, like whatever investment we are doing on the cloud, like what is the return on that, right? So yeah, I agree, hybrid and multi-cloud is the way to go, but I think we need to pick and choose wisely what makes sense from the organization as well as the application perspective as well. Right? Sometimes there are applications which might not need that scale. Sometimes there are applications which might be very small, right? And do we literally need to just lift and shift and run it on cloud? Like we need to take that call whether in future the cloud services are going to give uh, any sort of a edge, and if we will be able to justify that ROI to the business, then definitely it makes sense. So it's like sort of wisely making a decision that what should go on cloud, what not, where we have to be hybrid, and even if we are going multi-cloud, what is our strategy? Like it's the solution that we are building. Generally, it should not be, when we are talking about the lock-in. The lock-in is specifically for the services that are only available on a specific cloud, not available on the other one, right? But we can build a solution in a way that it can be cloud agnostic, using the services like let's say Databricks. Databricks is available on all of those cloud providers. Snowflake, that is available on all of the cloud providers, right? Or building the application on the GK that can be sort of ported and migrated to any of the cloud at any point of time. So yeah, I mean, wisely choosing that, what is our strategy from at the application level, and then from a multi-cloud perspective, building the application which are more cloud agnostic.
Yeah, I'd like to add a one point there
Yeah, please.
about multi-cloud strategy. I'm in alignment, that's a way to go. When it comes to hybrid cloud, especially when we are driving towards more AI-driven engineering. I won't call ops or, platform or whatnot. It's more of AI-driven engineering. The data becomes the foundation of it, such a huge amount of data, every data or any data is no longer useless, it's needed. So keeping such a huge data on this public cloud provider would be very cost, it may not be cost effective. That's where I am seeing, coming from this data background as well as Wasabi being a cloud provider, where people tend to use either cheaper storage, or tend to keep the data itself in their private data center and go for this hybrid cloud strategy, where public cloud itself is considered as an extended edge of their data center. That's where more and more this, AWS terminology of direct connect stuff like that get used, where we have this compute power sitting on the public cloud, either on the edge computing or itself in the public cloud, and processing it, rather have data in your data center and try to adopt this hybrid cloud strategy. That's where I see the big shift, especially on this AI. I would say, AI era, right? AI engineering era. Yeah, that's my view on it.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. We've kind of touched on both of the next two questions, but I'm going to skip one and go to we talked about cloud migration and the lift and shift versus re-architecture. Is there anything else that still feel like common pitfalls in cloud migration? And are we at a point now where maybe with AI, maybe with the way the products have advanced, that folks are better at avoiding the common pitfalls that we've had? I don't know, Ramesh, if you have any thoughts on that.
So, when it comes to cloud migration and challenges or the pitfall itself, it's widely something that larger corporation face, in terms of the first thing I would say, you don't get started with your cloud journey. I started my cloud journey in 2016. We don't start our cloud journey with a standardized platform, right? Rather, you start as one product, work on this one little thing, try to write your code pipeline and stuff like that, build your infrastructure that is, segregated for one product. Same thing happens in a bigger organization across multiple teams. So this cultural alignment doesn't happen, right? Every team try to work on this silo, and then you get to a point staying in either in 2020 or 2025, try to think, hey, how do I standardize this cloud platform? And you try to fit this standardization across all the product in a bigger corporation, and get to this challenging of, okay, I have these standard principles, governance, all that stuff. How can I apply on this product that are already in production, right? It becomes so challenging. So that's one of the things. Standardization is a big challenge. I'll also touch base how one could overcome with it. Another one is like governance. How do we impose governance on these products that is currently getting developed, as well as products that are in production? That's where some of the tools comes into play. Cost, we spoke about, cost is a big concern in the cloud migration. And we don't think through this cloud migration strategy really well. We spoke about it, but how does the bigger corporation or anyone that's dealing with cloud migration, they're solving, moving towards solving this is, right? What I've seen is people try to, which is supposed to be an engineering principle, you're supposed to spend more time on design. So design first, put more time on design, so you don't need to end more time, and you don't need to put more time in the operations later on. And second one is shift left. What we are seeing is the FinOps principles shifting left more towards the code. So policies as code that imposes that enforces FinOps principles, with some of the checks in when you build the cloud infrastructure. With your IAC, the checks are imposed in such a way that they will tell you before you build your cloud infrastructure what's your cost going to look like. Some of those shift happening as a FinOps as a code, and same goes with security as a code. You try to enforce security in your pipeline of infrastructure as well as CI/CD, so that you have to deal less in SecOps compared to how it was previously. That's one shift what we are seeing. And same applies for the governance. Governance nowadays goes as a policies into the code. I kind of put everything into code because that's where I'm coming from. That's how we were able to standardize something that works really great from greenfield product. When I say something greenfield, something getting developed. But why it won't work great with a brownfield product, that's something in production. That is where most of the corporations are struggling. That's where we try to emphasize governance with boundaries around the on the cloud infrastructure that's already built. That is where the struggle is. It's really difficult to fit something productized where you have a live customer, live traffic going on into these principles of standardization and governance. That's my take on it. It's mostly code, security lift shift left, and cost shift left, and design first. Yep.
Excellent. Sachin,
Yeah,
Shilpa, anything to add to that one?
right. So first of all, Ramesh explained it really well. I want to just pick like a couple of things and would add on top of that. From cost perspective, yes, we know we can optimize that cost on the cloud. We can only pay for what we are using, but then still we need to have that governance and understanding of how we are spending that. So we have a friend Shilpa here. Her tool can help us keep that cost sort of optimized and have more governance on that. But yes, like initially when you move, most of the people don't even know that how the cost is going to look like, right? Let's say even if they are using any of the cloud services, how that service is going to give them a bill, right? By the end of the year, right? So it's like as in when you are going, you are keeping a check on that particular cost using the right tools. And the awareness of all of those services for the people who are using it is also very important, because when initially you move, you want to try a lot of things, right? The awareness comes later sometimes. So it's like a collaboration with the cloud provider, getting that sense of that how much cost will it incur if you are going to use this service in a specific way, right? So having a sort of a planning, the cost planning initially, that what a specific service can cost if being used in a specific way. So that understanding is very important. Second, Ramesh talked about standardization. Yes, initially what happens that we try to move application by application to the cloud, and then later try to create a standard platform framework to integrate all of that together. Ideally, it should be designed first. First, have a complete plan of how you are going to move there, right? And then uh, don't just lift and shift. Try to leverage the power of all of the services that have been provided, and go with that plan and design and architecture initially, and then start development and moving all of those things. One thing from operational perspective, a pitfall that I have seen in my journey is that business is not waiting for you to complete the migration, right? Because it might be the companies like which I am part of in my career, they are huge, right? The scalability is a concern. You're not going to move overnight. It might take years. It's a multi-year strategy to move to the cloud as well, even for the application that I worked on. When you talk about data warehouses, data lakes, it's not like in a couple of months journey that you're going to migrate everything to the cloud. It takes years sometimes, right? The business is not going to wait that when you are going to move to the cloud, then I will, look for my expectation from that particular platform, right? They want to continuously build, continuously evolve. Then what should be their strategy? Because you have the application on-prem, you are migrating it. It might take years, but you're not stopping a development on-prem. So what can we do? The thing that we have done, I don't know whether that's the best way of handling that or not. I'll ask my fellow speakers as well if they struggle the same way. That you might need to develop on both the sides, because you are not writing the code on both the platform the same way. There might be differences. There might be, because then it will be sort of a lift and shift, right? We want to modernize. We want to leverage the cloud services properly. So we can develop on both the sides in parallel, test, and then, there should be a cutover. right? Where both the applications will be running in parallel, there will be proper validation, and then only we are completely cutting over to the cloud. So that's what we have adopted. But I would like to hear from Ramesh and Shilpa as well.
Yeah, Shilpa, do you have anything to add there? Next topic is AI. So like,
Yeah, I think it's been covered pretty well. Yeah, I'll wait for your next questions, Mandi.
excellent. And let's go for it. We're about halfway through. I see folks adding questions in the chat. That's great. We'll get to those towards the end here. So keep adding those.
Mandi.
Yeah, go ahead, Ramesh.
I'd like to add one more thing that I missed to speak about on the Fitball is the security. The security of the cloud itself is challenge in either small organization or bigger organization. That's an area there is significant shift coming, whether it is cloud or I don't want to speak about AI. We have coming that those questions coming next. But on the cloud side, it's a security always been a concern. Security kind of comes what I've seen in SDLC, right? Security should be baked into the process of SDLC, not should be coming after the fact. So given that we started this transformation journey of cloud, like I would say 10 years, it's been a decade, right? Almost a decade or more than a decade. So security was started catching up from the era of 2020, 2021, where they want to be the first security at first part of the SDLC, but that is where I see a fitball. We have to consider security part of the design, not that security should be an operational aspects of it. Including even the platform security, not just the software security I'm talking about, network platform, whatever the security component you say, it should be part of the design. That's in one shift, what we would see recent days, but that's a fitball I'd like to call it out.
Excellent. Thank you. All right. So now let's get really into some AI stuff. So Shilpa, start us out. How is generative AI in particular, and maybe agentic and other components, how is that reshaping cloud infrastructure and application design? What's it doing for folks that's helping them out or maybe stalling them out?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think what I've seen, and I've previously worked at AWS, so I've seen the generative AI is fundamentally transforming cloud infrastructure, as well as any kind of application design across several dimensions. First, infrastructure requirements and scaling. I've seen the cloud providers, really having to address the computational demands of generative AI, which are driving massive changes in architecture. Organizations, as you know, need more GPU optimized instances, higher memory configurations, specialized hardware like TPUs, and so on and so forth. And so this has led the cloud providers to develop new instance types. And they are actually rolling them out pretty fast. Like I think just last year in 2024, we saw multiple, new instance types from just Google Cloud alone, and distributed computing frameworks for AI workloads and so on and so forth. So that's, I think, one of the big changes that I've seen. They're also having to adapt and provide for edge cloud hybrid architecture. So any latency sensitive AI applications that are pushing computation closer to users through edge deployments, I think this is also kind of creating hybrid architectures where smaller optimized models run at the edge for real-time responses and so on. Data pipeline, which is an area that I've closely worked in, generative AI requires like pretty sophisticated data pipelines that can handle really massive data sets, real-time streaming, complex pre-processing, and so on and so forth. And so cloud architectures are now emphasizing vector databases, which I think pretty well known. We use a lot of vector databases in some of the AI applications that we're building, embedding storage systems and data lake adoption, which companies like Snowflake, Databricks, and even the public cloud providers have historically provided are becoming more and more popular for AI training and training of the AI data. So these are some changes that I'm seeing in terms of how generative AI is reshaping cloud infrastructure. I think less less spoken about might be, again, cost optimization. AI can be very expensive. So the high cost of AI inference is driving new approaches to resource optimization. Applications are now implementing more intelligent caching of like AI responses. I think everyone that's used ChatGPT has seen this. Not just ChatGPT, but any of the other similar applications as well. And then the last thing that I want to mention, Mandi, is maybe security and governance. AI integration is also introducing new security considerations, especially around like data privacy, model access control, and any kind of output validation. So cloud is now including more specialized security layers for the AI workloads itself.
Are you seeing anything where maybe the choice of models that application developers are using is also sort of part of that discussion, whether they're using small language models or some of these other smaller components to control costs or resources or anything like that?
So your question is, am I seeing specific infrastructure related design when it comes to depending on what type of large or small language model companies might be adopting?
Yeah, or if you see engineers making choices about the models that they're planning to use or developing against that relate to the underlying cost of operating that model.
I think that should be a very significant consideration at the design stage itself. So yeah, I can't holistically speak about whether everyone is doing it for sure, but I've seen that it's a very important decision that needs to be made upfront, versus saying, one of our competitors built an AI assistant using a specific LLM model. Let's use the same thing, but really it has to be really well understood and thought about at the design stage to figure that out, and subsequent cloud infrastructure considerations need to be made. So yeah, the answer is yes, Mandi.
Excellent, thank you. Sachin, do you have any thoughts on this one? Anything you've seen in your journeys?
Yeah, I would say the cloud is sort of democratizing the AI with all of the advancements and enhancement that are happening in that space, making all of that quickly accessible to everyone. Um, Organizations can try that quickly, um, fail faster, learn from it, improve, getting better. And I think Shilpa touched upon the data availability for all of these models as well. And cloud is providing that at scale. Whatever data you need, that can be made available, as I said, like on a real time basis, using the pipelines that you build or even driven architecture. So yes, like it's not only a sort of like now a batch mode where you are feeding in that data to any of these models and then generating insights and predictive analytics on top of it. It's about the real time you can use that particular data to learn from the model and get insights. So yeah, I will say like it is speeding up the adoption of AI, all of the cloud providers.
Excellent. Yeah, it's kind of two-part. Like it kind of made the current models possible with the changes in the way we do data centers and make resources
Right.
available, and now it's going to make all that stuff available to everybody else, which is super interesting.
Like within our firm as well, like we have all of those models available through APIs.
Yeah.
It's not only about the OpenAI API, but then we installed our models on the cloud quickly and exposed all of that through the API. And that's what I was saying, that we are integrating all of the AI ML together, creating a framework and making it accessible for the whole firm, so that everyone need not to install their own models on the VM, but everything, all of these models are exposed through APIs for the whole firm. So it's quickly accessible even within the firm to everyone. They can try, they can have the same prompt for like any of the OpenAI LLM, any of the other models as well, whether it's Claude or the Facebook model as well.
Excellent. Ramesh, do you have any thoughts on that one before we go to the next question?
I'd like to echo what my friends just spoke about. Generative AI is the new thing. I wouldn't say new thing, it's been here for a couple of years. Especially there is a significant there are significant challenges in building a right data pipeline for it to work properly. That's where I'm seeing, the major cloud provider are providing tools to pick and make sure you have an appropriate and right data pipeline for generative AI to work appropriately or as needed. What is getting challenging in the job that I'm in right now is, picking a right model for your use case, right? That is where the AI tooling or the framework are getting more popularity, which gives you option to pick and choose a model based on your use cases. That's a shift I'm seeing. I mean, generative AI itself is evolving, and every cloud provider are in the game, including every software company is also in the game to developing AI tool that works well with all these LLMs. So vectorization is a key factor. How well you can structure your data and get it vectorized, so you can train your model and take a right required output out of it. That's where the challenging and meat of the AI itself right now in the generative AI world. That is where majority of the companies are investing. How can you build the right data pipeline? That's all I'd like to call it. Thank you.
Yeah, excellent. So, as far as what could be next in cloud, Shilpa, are there any like under the radar cloud technologies that might be like the next big trend, do you think?
Yeah, that's a great question. Next, under the radar, I would say, I want to say edge is probably going to continue to grow. Edge computing. I also think that, and this is, you said under the radar. So I do think there's a lot of startups that are coming up in quantum computing. But I
Yeah.
have heard, a lot of the public cloud providers are also putting a lot of their research funds into quantum computing as well. So if you mean what's coming up after this huge, massive AI wave,
Right.
I really think that it's going to be quantum computing.
What
But
are
we
we
might
going to be doing with quantum? Like, what do you think the project space, the computational space is going to be for quantum? What is going to be the killer app in quantum? Because I my computer science background is a little outdated for this, so like I don't have a good feel for what to grab onto in the quantum space.
I'm going to be very honest, Mandy. I don't know a whole lot about quantum computing. I do know that it represents one of the most significant like technological frontiers that's
Yeah.
likely to come up next. In terms of potential applications, I've heard cryptography, so more and more security as far as data is concerned. I've also heard about financial modeling, supply chain optimization, and those are some of the upcoming potential applications. But I'm still stuck in the AI wave. So,
Right? Right?
yeah,
I
I've
haven't caught
definitely
up
heard
enough
of.
on what's going on right now. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. I mean, because AI itself, the wave that we're in right now, things are changing every day. Every day you hear of something new. But I definitely have heard of the major cloud providers making quantum computers more accessible through their platforms. IBM, our company was acquired by IBM. We're definitely doing a lot of research on that front, and I've heard the same about Amazon and Google as well. So yeah, that's probably next. What's next?
Yeah. Excellent. Sachin, do you have any thoughts on that? Do you know anything about quantum? Help us out here.
Very, very, very high level. But I think Shilpa touched it really well that, that might be the thing to come in future. That might be the next wave of, the new advancement within the technology space. And she rightly said, like from a security perspective, because the processing speed is going to change, right? So let's say like someone want to hack into a system, as of now it might be taking some time for them. That is going to reduce, so we need to make all of our platforms and systems more secure. And yes, like that is the next thing to be there for sure. From the current perspective, I will say embedding this AI into all of the cloud services. So we have already seen like AI as being part of all of the tools and the technologies that are available, whether on cloud or whether as a proprietary tool or something, right? So even from a business intelligence perspective, the tools like ThoughtSpot, right, where you are asking the questions in a natural language, right? And you are getting the insights out of that. So embedding the AI in all of the cloud services will be a thing that I'm seeing is going to happen in next couple of years.
Excellent. Ramesh, anything there?
I'm no expert in quantum computing, but I like to add for on the cloud what I would like to see coming, or what I think it may be under the radar is, um, so it's really difficult to bake or mix and match with this public cloud these days. That will get neutralized. It will be easy to adapt each of them and pick and choose services from public cloud based on your use cases, and they work really well. The connectivity become really wide, so you don't need to worry about connectivity between the cloud. That's what I see. That is where majority of the player coming in. As per my thoughts, that's where we fit in. Wasabi Technology has one of the uh, cloud storage provider. So I see that's gonna be the under the radar, where you can pick and choose services from different cloud provider and then work agnostically. So you don't need to worry much about multi-cloud strategy. That should be something naturally coming in the public cloud sector. In addition to it, I think the edge computing, I'd like to echo that. That would be the big shift on agentic AI, because you will have your processing or agentic AI sitting on the edge and provide you what you need. It's going to be more API-based AI usage through edge computing. That's going to be the shift, I can say. And the third one I like to say is like cost transparency. Give one cost that sells a story. You don't have layers of cost for every little thing. Don't have cost for data transfer or storage separately. Just give it one cost. Have a cost transparency. That's something gonna be, I think, that's coming in, so that it makes easier to adapt cloud. Not like you don't need this intelligent thought to put together a cloud infrastructure.
Excellent. All right, we're getting close to time here. We have a lot of questions from the audience, which is great. So as I'm reading through those, let's give everybody a chance to answer this last one here. For folks in the audience who might be job seekers or who might be at a career inflection point, we know there's been a lot of volatility in the job market over the past couple of years. I'd just like to hear from each of you, like, what skills do you think are going to be most important for someone continuing in this field? Cloud generally, AI, how we talk about Gen AI, how these folks are, what to skill up in, what kind of things to sort of put in their toolbox as they move through their careers. Shilpa, could you kick us off on that one?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Mandi. So I would say for someone, so just to clarify, we're talking about somebody that is kind of starting off, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Or even folks who are sort of mid-career. Like, I think
Yeah.
even us old people, right, are like, okay, what do I have to learn next?
Yeah. So I think, obviously computer science, know your basics. I would say maybe start there. But having said that, I think it's really important to maybe focus on things like data science, data analytics would be good areas to really focus your energies and learning skills on these days, just because everything that we're building, whether it's, cloud native or outside of the cloud, but still AI ML focused, everything really is relying on data. And if you work for, small, large, medium-sized enterprise, most of these companies are gathering data at rates that we have not seen prior to maybe the last couple of years. I don't think we've ever seen this rate of data collection. And so really focusing on anything data related in your career could potentially take you a long way. Coding skills obviously could take you a long way, kind of going back to data science, data analysis, Python skills, and that sort of thing could also really help. And I would say that, a lot of people are saying that AI is really going to impact white collar jobs. AI is really going to be doing most of the coding and so on and so forth. And I think to a large extent that might be true. So I think it's really important to not just be able to code, but also ask a lot of questions that AI and the machines are not going to be able to ask about things like, maybe stuff on the business side of things, but also, I come from a product management background. And so product management can really play a strong role here to understand user preferences, user journeys. What is the AI doing that humans uh, can really identify that the machines cannot, and that sort of thing. So really have a lot of awareness about that. Don't just focus on coding skills over the next 10 to 15 years, because it is true that a lot of companies are going to focus a lot of their resources on having AI do the coding itself. So I would really keep a close eye on that and continue to evolve. I don't think it's just for the audience here, Mandy. I think you know all of us, I think including me, are going to have to continue to learn if we need to stay employed over the next 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Sachin, what do you think about all this?
Yeah, I won't shy saying that AI is going to impact a lot on the workforce, right? But is it going to take the jobs away? No. I think every time, whenever there is a shift in any of the technology, uh, the way that we work, that changes, right? But jobs are always going to be there, right? So we need to keep learning, we need to keep enhancing our skills and stay relevant in the workforce. For that, like, what can we do currently? Like, there's, from an AI perspective, there are new titles that started coming up: prompt engineering, AI engineers, right? So understanding that AI space, make yourself aware of what's going on, what's latest coming up within that particular space, will help and will take you for a long way. Now, as still Shilpa mentioned, yes, like, there are certain core things which are never going to go away, whether it's related to data. Data engineers will always be needed. Whether you are talking about AI, whether you're talking about ML, you need the data, you need the quality data to be available to train and get insights out of that. So data engineering is going to stay, at least for the near future. Uh, from a cloud perspective, I will say cloud architects, right? And cloud engineers, right? Who are having the expertise on, how to leverage the power of the cloud, right? So I think these are the things that are going to be there for the next couple of years. But I'll say technology is evolving itself every couple of years, right? So whatever is relevant today might not be too much relevant tomorrow. So we need to keep evolving ourselves, keep learning, and this will make us more relevant towards the workforce. I still learn. I still, you know, uh, whether it's from my team, whether I am gaining skills through using these LLMs. Like, nowadays, I need not to go to Google, but I'm going to ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, and asking my questions. So yes, I mean, using all of these power to enhance your skills as well will help you stay in the industry for a long period of time.
Excellent.
That's
Thank
my
you. Ramesh?
Yeah, so I'd like to, I can repeat the same thing what Sachin and Shilpa said, right? So I'd like to echo that data engineering is one of the way to go. In addition to it, I like to call out security. Security is not going away anywhere. That is always going to be there, whether it's data security or AI security or cloud security. So that's in one area one could start with if you're starting your career. That's There is a shift. I mean, AI tools will advance the security aspects of it, but you would need somebody to put together the postures and governance. So that would be there for some time. I can see that. And if you are in the mid of your career, then I would say start using AI tool efficiently. That's going to enable you. It's not going to replace you. It's going to make you more productive. So what I see, these are two different aspects. How can you be better, or how can you start your career? Security is a one way, and you can get better with using AI tools. Is AI gonna replace the jobs? No, I don't think so. It will replace the completely. It will advance our accuracy and enable us to get things done faster. What that means is it will open up ourselves for more advanced innovations. You would start seeing innovations. You would start seeing these pop-ups, popping up of startups competing with big player. That's what I see. AI gonna enable and advance so much in innovations. We're gonna see huge innovations coming through, not just in AI space. I'm saying in general. That's gonna AI gonna just advance us to make those innovations. It would be a data-driven journey from here. Yeah, that's my thought. Thank you.
Yeah, great. And related to that, we have a user question here. What are the emerging jobs and roles related to cloud computing? One question we didn't get to was related to platform engineering and how that has evolved as well. Are there other places where we mentioned data engineering? That's kind of, we know data engineers, we have data teams and stuff like that. Are there other places where we're going to need more engineers, or where the jobs are changing, or if it's something like platform engineering that might be emerging that will impact cloud computing in the future? Shilpa, you nodded a little bit there.
I mean, I kind of agree that data engineers are going to continue to have a pretty significant role.
Yeah.
Mandy, I think that everything, the complexity that individual enterprises have within their data pipelines, it's going to be really hard for AI, especially in the very near future, to be able to catch all of that and really architect enterprise data pipelines. So data engineers are going to have a job for the foreseeable future. That's my opinion. And I think that's a great skill to have. It's not an easy job. Being a data engineer oftentimes involves doing a lot of the work that other engineering teams don't. But it's a very critical job function. So yeah, if anyone's looking to kind of move into that space, I think I definitely recommend it. Data science is another area that I really would recommend as well.
Excellent. Sachin, anything that you think might be emerging for folks who are looking for a place to fit?
I think we covered most of that, but I just want to add certain things. The way that all of the engineers do work, that is going to change, right? With the tools like Copilots and Cursor AI and others in the market. Like even if a data engineer that used to write 100,000 lines of code, now they just need to interact with these systems and in a natural language tell that what they want to write, and the ID is going to generate that code for you. But yes, what skill do you need then? It's not that all of the code that is all of these tools are spitting out, and just you can just productionize that. No, you still need to review it. You need to ensure that everything is as expected or not. There will be failures as well when you use them, and you are even in development executing a pipeline using the code that has been generated out of these particular tools. It might not run in the first execution, so you need to go in there, you need to troubleshoot, you need to have that kind of a skill. How will you get that? When you know the core data engineering piece. You know the coding as well, then only you can fix those things. So as Ramesh said, that it is going to make our job more efficient. It is not going to eliminate that. Whatever organizations used to deliver in months or quarters might have been delivered in few weeks only going forward.
Excellent. Thank you, Ramesh.
So I'm trying to echo the question. So was that around platform engineering? If it's platform engineering, I've been a platform engineer for a decade. I'd like to call it, it's not going away. Platform engineering gonna get more advanced and become intelligent platform engineering, where you would build this platform intelligent enough to take care of itself and the operations aspects. You can build this Kubernetes cluster which can monitor for the new patches and upgrade itself, make sure it's always available, scale, and support your workload, whether it is GPU workload or normal your application workload. So all I want to say it like platform engineering gonna get advanced and become intelligent. uh, the CI/CD aspects of the SDLC may get adopted into platform engineering. It may be one part of the platform engineering, may not sit as its own piece. That what we have seen in last couple of years. we may call it like this platform engineering do it all, but they don't replace the operations aspect of it. There will always be this operations aspect of platform, which would be kind of, I would call observability. So observability will be more advanced to suffix as AI ops. And that's also nowhere, it's not going away. Everything become intelligent. Every engineering become intelligent and become intelligent engineering rather than going away. That's what I would say. The experience comes into play. The decision, how you make the decision based out of the data, that comes into play.
Awesome. Thank you. This has been great. We're almost at the top of the hour, so I just want to thank all of our panelists for their insight and for taking the time to be with us today. So thank you all very much for sharing your expertise with our audience. This has been great.
Yeah, thank you, Mandi. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome. We'll turn it back to our host of Tech in Motion.
Awesome. Thank you all so much for that insightful discussion. There were so many great questions in the chat, so we'll try to follow up with our panelists and see if we can get some of those answered. Thank you for being so engaged, and a special thank you to our panelists for their time and sharing your expertise on this topic. This webinar was recorded, so you'll get a copy of the recording after today's conversation. Be sure to share your feedback on today's webinar by clicking the survey on your screen, and check out our upcoming events we have coming up soon. Thank you all again for joining, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anna.
Thank you.